What's up, everybody? Welcome to the match reaction. Liverpool have just taken down Tottenham at Anfield 4-2. And honestly, what was a very entertaining match to watch.
I'd agree.
I mean, absolutely incredible. You got a little bit of everything. You got Liverpool finally being clinical. You got Harvey Elliott with an absolute amazing goal.
World-class
goal. You had Tottenham there at the end, giving Liverpool a little bit of a scare. And we got a lot to talk about here. Let's start with... I got to start with Emerson, man.
Oh, dude.
I want to start with Emerson. I want to look at these player ratings real quick.
Yeah.
For you, let me
you.
hear your thoughts about Emerson today.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
just yes.
I honestly think it would have been better if he just wasn't there.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but okay. To be fair, he did make some good tackles.
Okay.
But as soon as he makes a good tackle, he just gives it away.
Right.
And so it's almost like because everyone's moved up a little bit because he stole the ball, they're out of position. And instead of just like they could have stayed in position instead, but because he's got them thinking to keep going, like I just don't think, and you actually said it earlier, I just don't think Emerson fits the scheme that they need or try or whatever. And he's just not consistent at all.
Well, who brought him in?
I want to say it was Mourinho.
Mourinho brought him in?
I want to say it was Mourinho.
So
don't hold me to that. But
no, I mean, I believe you. So if he brought him in, if we're looking at the player ratings now, according to WhoScored.com, Royale gets a 5.9. All right.
That is super generous.
Van de Ven got a 5.8. How do you feel about that?
I think that's bogus. And it's one because he got the yellow card.
The 4 goals.
Going to bring it down.
4 goals.
They had 4 goals scored on them. But in terms of his consistency of being there, he's making stops, he's making interceptions, he's heading the ball out. Like, I didn't see him give away the ball once, really.
I thought he played really well considering.
So, I think that's got to be like one of those mathematical, like, because he didn't do enough of blank or something.
It's got to be, yeah. And not to mention, you let in 4 goals, but then you look at Vicario. Vicario's got a 6.7. So to me, you're right. It might be the yellow card because then you look at Royale. He's got a yellow, and that Royale should be at a 5. All right. I think he's not solely responsible, but he was definitely involved in like 3 of the goals.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
I mean, like if you had Skip in who came in, they didn't get past, like they didn't have any wild like open possession shots or anything like that since Skip went in at left back. Once he was subbed in, that was it. Like it was a completely different defense.
And he's not even a left back, man. And I mean, who else? If Emerson subbed off, aside from Udogie, is there anyone else who goes and plays left back?
There's not.
So Skip, shout out to you, because Skip ended up getting like a 6.7 or 6.4 or something like that.
He did great. He really did. And so all to say that I do think the 4-back idea is different. I think that they were playing this kind of like, let's see what happens. This doesn't really, truthfully, I'm not going to say matter because yes, they could theoretically still get in the Champions League, but it's, that's just so far away. And so do they try something different with this 4-back idea? Sure. Why not? But I'm sorry. If this doesn't show that they need to get rid of Emerson, like, I don't know what else they need because every time they put him in, he just plays poorly.
It wasn't a good showing for Emerson. We can definitely say that. And, the 4 goals kind of skews these results as well. But we're looking at Sarr, 5.6, Basuma, 6.1, Bentancur, 5.8. Ben Johnson, decent game with the assist, ended up getting a 6.9. Mm-hmm. Son did his thing, got a goal, 7.9. Kulusevski subbed off. But again, we had talked about this before we went live. When Richarlison and Maddison came on, game changer.
Yeah, completely different team.
Different team.
Completely different game.
Right.
And I got to say, honestly, Son with the 7 point whatever,
mm-hmm.
I feel like that's super generous because minus when Richarlison and Maddison came on.
Yeah.
And I'll say Skip too, because honestly, Skip helped with the idea. That I don't think Son did a single thing for 60 minutes until they came on. And so, yes, he did get a goal. Yes, he did start helping with creating chances and whatnot.
Right.
But for 30 minutes to get almost an 8 is like, that's pretty high, at least in my opinion.
Definitely the goal. It was definitely the goal that brought it up.
Sure.
100%. Because no one else, I mean, Christian Romero, right? All the other defenders were right around 6. Romero, oh, that's captain. Never mind. I was like, I thought he had an assist. Like, wait a minute.
No.
Yeah, so
I gotta say, it really goes to show just how good Tottenham's starting 11 is, because they're really pretty darn good. But it was 3-0 at halftime, right? Or was it 2-0?
2-0 at half.
So then they scored 2 more goals, or I can't remember if it was 2 and then they subbed, or if it was 1 and then they subbed. I'd have to look at the minutes of the goals.
Yeah, and I don't think it matters too much. All I know is that you guys scored 2 almost immediately after you made the subs.
10, 15 minutes. And so if you take about it in that like sense, that team of Tottenham, if they're scoring 2 goals in 15 minutes against Liverpool, who had they're a good team, man. Like, this is not
great game for Liverpool.
And so it shows me that Tottenham can be good, but injuries and all that, get in the way. But I think it's just finish the season, get back into training, take the summer off, get back into training, and then let's lock it down, because the foundation is really, we were talking about it, it's really starting to get there.
Yeah.
And I know it can happen, and I think it's Ange is really where
you think Ange is the guy?
I do. It's just like, I mean, what, you guys, you love Klopp, right?
Yeah.
And not that they're the same people, but you back him, you support him. If he tries something, you say, cool, that's
you
fine.
have to. There's no other way to support a club or play for a club. You have to buy into the manager. Mm-hmm. And even if it doesn't work out, you buy in, that gives you the best chance of that method succeeding.
Right.
Versus being, I don't agree with that, I'm not going to buy in. So I get what you're saying. And they show promise. Those pieces you talked about, striker, center back, maybe another midfielder. But again, if you're looking, hindsight's 2020, maybe Maddison should have started. Maybe Richarlison should have started. But, it is what it is.
I get it, though.
Yeah.
And so if they're just resting them, if they're saying, hey, let's just keep people healthy, that's fine. I get it. But I think the final thing I'll say about at least Tottenham before we get into Liverpool is we were talking about previous managers. So we had Mourinho.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel that way about Mourinho. I think Mourinho's done great things, but I didn't feel like he was the Tottenham manager that
it was the surprise signing for me.
We had Conte, and I actually liked him a lot, but the business of Tottenham did not like him. They didn't give him the players he needed. He was trying to make do with, he wanted his system, and he told them, if we're going to do this, we need to do it my way, and they didn't do it his way. So even if I support him and other people support him, it doesn't matter, because he can't do what he needs to.
Right.
Nuno, like we kind of mentioned, he was just interim more than anything.
Yeah, that was weird. He wasn't there for very long. He didn't make it a full season, did he?
And Mason, one of the players.
Oh, that's right.
He
was interim.
Manager.
Yeah, until
Ange.
Yeah.
And so Ange is the first one in the last 2 or 3 years now where not only do I feel like, as a Tottenham supporter, do I support him, but I feel like Tottenham supports him. And so that's why I'm like, if not Ange, then I don't know. Because
who else is there?
Yeah.
I mean, there's managers out there on the market, but for Tottenham, Ange might be the guy, and we'll see next season. I know you guys will be pushing for Champions League as well. Going over to Liverpool, guys. Liverpool, obviously, with the 4 goals, you're going to see a lot of high ratings. If we look at the front line, you're going to see Gakpo with an 8.9, an assist and a goal. Salah, 8.1 with an assist and a goal. Elliott, beautiful curler.
Man of the match.
Unbelievable curler. Assist and a goal. Elliott, definitely man of the match. Endo, 7. McAllister, 7.2. Diaz, 7.1. Again, the win and brings that up. I think McAllister and Diaz were average. Endo was average. Trent, in my opinion, deserves this 7.5. I'd even give Trent an 8. I thought Trent was phenomenal today. I saw him making plays on the defensive end. I saw him making so many progressive passes, so many key passes, I think, for Trent today. I'd love to see that. Robertson with a goal. Robertson, unbelievable, man. And then Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, 6.6, 6.9, and Allison with a 6.8. Substitutes, it was great to see Bajcetic back, guys. Bajcetic has been out for, damn near a year and a half, something like that.
You said he's been out with injury?
Yeah, so I want to say he started this season. He played a couple games. We played him at right back.
Sure.
He was coming back from an injury, and then he got injured. We haven't seen him since then. That was back in like September or October. And so him coming back now is a huge boost to our midfield because this season McAllister's been forced to play in the 6. And he's best used as kind of like a box-to-box guy, not so much as a pivot. So for me, it was just good to see him back. I like him. Gravenberch hasn't really caught fire. So he's just kind of getting garbage time minutes. But let's go over to the chat. Chris here says, really concerned by Kwanzaa as of late. And Darwin being Darwin again. Dude missed. I don't know. Hold on. Dude missed the how to stay on side training this week. Massive drop off with our subs. Dude, Darwin has never been on side. This man has always struggled to stay on side. And not only that, but he's just hitting the post all the time. With all of that said, look at his numbers. He has still been really, really good this season, numbers-wise.
So he's got a lot of goals and a lot.
He's 11-8 in the Premier League, and I want to say 18-13 in all comps.
That's solid. That's really,
it's really good, yeah. Bacetic says, Supreme Architect says, Bacetic looked way off it. I mean, look, he's first game back. Got to give the guy time. He had one pretty good tackle on Son, I believe. But that's all I remember. Again, garbage time minutes. Spencer here says, don't watch very many of their games, but it seems like Spurs just don't put a whole game together. Seems like one good half or just look good in patches. Your take on that?
I would agree with that. I think that's a great point, honestly. And I think I mentioned it very briefly in the very beginning of the game when it was 2-0 going into the half. Tottenham this season, I don't know what is in the juice that they drink during halftime, but they notoriously go down 1-0, 2-0, and they score like 3 or 4 goals in the second half.
They're just a second half team.
And I actually, Ashton and I always tease about it because I'll be like, oh, they're down 2-0 again. And then I look back and they're up 4-2 at the end of the game or something.
I know that feeling. I know the feeling of going. This is the first time in a while that we did not concede first.
But so I think that goes into the same idea I was mentioning with they're laying the foundation and it's getting there. It's getting there. They need, like, next season, if it all comes together, where you think about how they got Madison, they got Van de Ven, Richarlison's still trying to figure it out. Johnson's new. I mean, Sarr's still, like, he's trying to find just where he belongs. Basuma's doing great, honestly. Right. He's a hothead. Like, he gets red cards and all that, but he knows his role. And so Poro's great. They all are just still trying to figure out exactly, like, when you look at Salah and Elliott, or even you can go to other teams like Foden and Silva, and I mean Haaland. You could say he does this sort of thing, but this connection that they all know how to play with each other.
Yeah,
it's like
you guys are you're not quite there.
It's that last like pass or two that once they figure that out, man, are they going to be a fun team to watch.
You figured it out a couple times today. The first goal you guys had, that beautiful little 3 passes to break through the back line, find Richarlison, and finish. That was a great team goal.
And it's what they do.
Right.
That's the Ange, like 1-1-1, wide and back in, or like wide and then build it inside sort of idea, as opposed to, like, I think of City, who does the like reverse fullback idea, where they pull them inside and then they tiki-taka their way up top.
Right.
It works, and they know how to do it, or they're learning how to do it. But like, how was it Spencer saying this?
Yeah, Spence.
Saying that, it takes them a whole half to do that, to get there. They cannot be not just a Champions League team, but there's no way they can be a league winning team as only like a one-half team.
Well, that's the thing. To play consistent, let me put it this way, to win at this level, you have to put that consistency together week in and week out. And that's the hardest thing to do. You look at the best teams, Arsenal, historically, last 3 seasons, they've been great, and then they fall off at Christmas. This year is the first time they've put it together, and now look at them. They have a chance to win the league title. City, very consistent. But again, you talk about injuries. You talk about the lack of personnel, getting new players in and building that chemistry. All of those things play a factor in developing that consistency. Sure. So every team struggles with it. But I agree. I think I like what Tottenham have, and you saw the potential today in the second half specifically.
Sure.
When Madison and Richarlison came on.
Madison and company.
Dude, Madison's just good, man. Hannah says Kwanzaa was at fault for the first goal. I'm trying to remember. Because again, I was more so watching the build-up play. The build-up was just captivating. I didn't really watch our defenders. I was just like, oh, Richarlison's going to score here.
There wasn't a good clearance.
Yeah. Spurs need to add better players. I think they could compete for the Champions League with Ange if he got the right players in, right? Yeah. We talked a lot about that today. Going back to Liverpool, I think that I love the game today. I love what I saw. But it's too little too late, man. The pressure was off of the team, and so all of a sudden they're just playing amazing football. Putting 4 goals in the net is what we've done under Klopp for the last 8-9 years, especially with Salah up front. Gakpo, incredible today. We saw the absolute best of Harvey Elliott, okay? Even Luis Diaz had some moments in there, but we were just overloading Emerson on that side. Sorry, I got to bring up Emerson.
It's true,
again.
though.
But
it's true.
And exposing that and converting chances, right? There were some points in the first half where, there were great saves from Vicario. There was a clearance off the line by Romero, I believe. Mm-hmm. Those, in the last month or so, that's what we're doing. We're not converting those chances. But today, much better from the team. And I'm just overall happy. I think it's either Gakpo or Elliott for me. If from a third-party perspective, who's the man of the match for Liverpool?
I think it's got to be Elliott.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because Gakpo, honestly, great header, great finish, did well up top. Elliott, not only with his world-class finish, right, but it's the little things in the midfield. So, and again, you're talking about how they overloaded Emerson.
Right.
When he was getting locked down by Salah and he found a way out, Emerson did, Elliott scooped it up. He saw it a mile away. And he set up the goal that came from it. And so that's the sort of I know you were even talking about the Liverpool teams trying to figure out, we don't have Fabinho anymore. Hendo's not there. Obviously, Milner's doing different things now too. But it's kind of who is our midfield? What is our midfield? What are we going to do it like? Are we going to kind of play it sort of City-like where we have this attacking midfield with one, again, Fabinho center defensive mid? Or is it going to be 2 or 3 midfielders that are all kind of helping each other out? And right now, at least from what I see, Elliott today really showed we're all in this together.
Right. And that he could do that. Yeah. Because in the past, that's what I've been critical of him for, is that defensive effort, not offering us a lot defensively. But you're right. He read that. He's sprinting the whole way. Yeah, Salah loses the ball, but Emerson's vulnerable, picks it up. And I mean, that created the chance. I mean, it's just an amazing, a lot of good football was played today, honestly, on both sides. Sure. So, Aylor here, first week since week 7 that LFC players had some rest. I think we saw some more sparkle, more happiness on the pitch. Also, those energy goals are also back, shots from range and so forth. Great points. Absolutely great points. Yeah. The energy was there. And I think, Klopp gave him 3 days off or something. That does a world of good, not only mentally, but physically.
Sure.
Supreme says, is Spurs keeper always that rubbish? He let in some easy. What's Vicario? Every time we play Spurs, the keeper, you guys are amazing. Uh-huh. But I don't think Vicario played that bad. Did he?
I would disagree. Honestly, I disagree with who was saying that Vicario played poorly. I actually thought he did okay.
Me too.
I know he let in 4 goals, but it also gets past 10 other people on the field.
Elliott, you got to spark that or scrap that goal. You can't even count that. Okay.
But then you think about, so I think the number one that they're probably talking about is the header where he got a hand on it.
Yes. Okay.
Could he have done better? Sure. Maybe. Right. I'm not going to say that, he should have kept it out. It's a good header. It's a quick snap reaction. Could Allison have saved it? Maybe. But in terms of he was coming out on corners, he was getting his hands on things. He made some great foot saves. He stuffed up the ball.
Closed down Nunes, that one breakaway.
Yeah,
closed him down.
That outside of his box.
Yeah.
And so, I think the number when you see 4 goals, you're like, come on.
Right.
But and I'm sorry, I know I'm really harping on Emerson today.
But no,
and I honestly I don't have anything in terms of I know he's trying. Like I get
Sure.
that he's doing his best. I just don't think he's the person for Tottenham.
He just doesn't have it. And that's, today I don't watch Emerson week in, week out. You do. Today I just saw 3 brutal mistakes from Emerson, probably more, but 3 that led to goals. I mean, and it's sad because sometimes players have those games where they're just bad.
Sure.
But apparently this is a reoccurring theme with Emerson.
It's just, and maybe I just notice it more. But to answer the Vicario thing,
Yeah.
I think Vicario is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
He's a great new keeper to replace Lloris.
Better than I expected because I no idea who he was, and he's really stepped up. Morale, good to see you. I see this game as our best from the past 5 games. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Liverpool played really well.
We played so well. And again, this goes back to what I was talking about, with the mental side of things. I think everything just came to a head where we blew that result against Man United with the back pass, and every result after that, even the wins against Brighton and Sheffield United, losing to Crystal Palace at home, losing to Everton, drawing with West Ham. It's just an absolute strain on the mental side of things, not to mention Klopp's leaving at the end of the year, right? But now all that pressure is gone because you don't have that, we have to win the league. We're kind of done, right? Like, unless Man City and Arsenal collapse, we're done. So they went out there and had fun. We were talking about this. Both teams were kind of just having fun, and that's what led to great football. It wasn't cagey. It was fun. It was end to end. So ultimately, that's what you get. All right.
They played well. I'll give it to them.
Blaming Klopp still makes no sense. You do realize we still won this. Why are we blaming Klopp? The hell are we blaming Klopp for? Yeah, I don't know.
Klopp's doing fine, man.
Klopp's the man. He looked happy today. Thank God.
He did his.
Yeah. We haven't seen that in forever. Do you think Nunes should go on loan to improve somewhere like Dortmund if they came in? No. You keep Nunes at the club. If you're really that, I feel like Nunes is not a player you loan out. Am I wrong in saying that?
Is Liverpool worried about Nunes' performance?
I'm not. I'm not at all. I think recently he's been in kind of a dry spell. But players go through these spells all the time. He's also really young, guys. Okay, that consistency that we were talking about isn't there. Look at the statistics, though, Morale. Look at the statistics straight up. 18 goals, 13 assists in all comps. I don't care who you are. That's a phenomenal stat line.
Sure. I mean, heck, I'm trying to think of, other than Son on Tottenham, I don't even think he has that. I think he's too, especially assists.
He had 17 goals in the league. I saw Son.
But to have 13 assists as well,
It's
that's
pretty
a big deal.
It is a big deal. And a lot of people said that Nunes, when he came in, wasn't going to be that false 9 guy. He's a pure striker. So for him to adapt to his system, and even if you don't see Nunes as a creator, because I don't, but then you see 13 assists, you're kind of like, okay, maybe he can do that job.
I have actually a follow-up to that, though.
Yeah.
So the loan idea, if Klopp's leaving and you're getting adjusted to new Liverpool, let's say.
Sure.
Do you want Nunes to stay hot and go somewhere where he can stay hot and then come back and be hot? Or do you want to have him try to mesh into whatever the new system's going to be?
I think he's got to stay in mesh, because when you look at our options up front, we need him available. We need all the bodies available that we possibly can have. Jota's not reliable injury-wise. And Nunes, again, it's kind of hot and cold. So if he left, right, but say Gakpo gets injured or Gakpo is hot and cold, you still need that option. We only have Diaz, who plays on the left wing, really. And again, we have a lot of these forwards that just are interchangeable. You keep Darwin around for depth, but also because on his day, he can be unbelievable. The energy he brings is also great. So I think he fits into a new side. Maybe that sparks a fire under his ass, and he finds that new motivation. I don't think you loan him out. I think he's too good of a player and too productive of a player to loan out.
Sure.
You don't loan out a player that scores you 11 goals and 8 assists in the Premier League. To me, that just doesn't seem right. Hannah says, I miss that maintenance guy. Yeah, I wonder what he's doing now. We were playing bad at my old condo one day, and the maintenance guy came over to fix the stove or the fridge or something, and then we started playing well. And so the maintenance guy,
You're like, stay.
No, seriously. Yeah. And I was doing a live stream. I felt awkward because he's just in the kitchen and I'm like doing a live stream.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Liz says, is Kevin our new maintenance guy? I didn't even think about that. You might be our lucky charm, man.
Hey, all I can say is anytime you need some extra company, I'm happy to be here.
Dude, I love it. Again, appreciate all you guys for being here. Again, all of our channel members, thank you so much. Good result today for Liverpool. Positive vibes. Unfortunately, it's a little too late, but we'll take a 4-2 win at Anfield any day. Do you have any closing thoughts, man?
I gotta say, Liverpool and Tottenham always have a good game.
Always.
So hats off to that.
Yep.
But at least in terms of, if I had 2 words to say, one about Liverpool, one about Tottenham. Liverpool, I think it's going to be really, really cool to see what happens next season.
I'm excited.
And then for Tottenham, I really like whatever happens in this off, because I honestly, I don't really care what happens the rest of the season. They could get no European League play next year, and I'd be fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever happens this off season, I think it really goes to show the whole Conte thing. Are we going to back Ange, or are we still just halfway there? And if we're halfway there, then I have sad hopes about next season. And if we are there, I can't wait for this next year.
Hopefully Tottenham find themselves up there battling. I mean, that would just make things that much more entertaining. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, I would just much rather see Tottenham up there battling with us for top of the table than Arsenal or City.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I just think it would be like for Tottenham, with all due respect, almost kind of an underdog thing, until they earn that respect. So it's going to be an exciting year for sure.
Yeah, man.
Liz says, Kyle, ask Kevin to fix something.
You don't want that. I will say that.
Kevin needs to change the bird on the shirt next season and convert to the LFC tribe. We could use it. I think he's with Tottenham forever now, though, especially with the way they're playing. So again, thank you guys for being here. Kev, thank you.
Dude,
always enjoy it.
It's a pleasure.
Definitely the most fun I've had on a watch long in a while. So thank you guys. Till next time, take care.